All right, let's get it going, guys. It is Monday, November 20th, 2023. We'll do a quick review from Friday and get in so we can get into this week's pre-market. What can I say? I mean, this whole week, in fact, let's grab the 60-minute here. This whole week has just been all of the end of last week and now coming into the beginning of this week has been a total chop fest, right? So pretty much our biases, our targets to the upside, our targets to the downside have all been the same for multiple days now, right? We came up, we got all the bearish signals from here, but then the bulls defended the scaffolding. We came into it, we ducked, actually held it here. If you look in the detail, multiple times to the freaking tick, there was a little kiss through it, and then we came right back up, could not break out through the high, right? And then again, a lot of bearish clues from those highs. Market is pulling back, but it's not going anywhere. So we get all these bearish clues, but every time the bears try to bring it back, the bulls are supporting it. So it's been kind of a mess for the last 2, 3, 4 days of price action. But let's go ahead and jump back and take a look at what ended up happening here. So again, coming into the open on Friday, it was a little bit of a mixed bag because we were expecting the pullback. But every time we pulled back, the market kept getting support. So it was kind of like, let's see what happens, right? There's no way to know with 100% certainty which side is going to end up breaking. And when we came into the open on Friday, I warned everybody there was a really nice hourly bearish signal from up here, which could lead to some type of pullback as the market opened. So what happened? The market opened, it bounced. In fact, it bounced, interestingly enough, if you were to look at this whole leg up, the market bounced literally at the 50%. So we retraced all of the push from Thursday's low of last week all the way up to the pre-market high on Friday. The market pulled back and bounced right around the open, just 4 ticks below the 50% retrace there. Came up, and then you guys know what I did here, right? We got short right out of the open within a couple seconds, right off our scaffolding. And I was able to get this all the way down to where's our first target? 50% of the previous day. Why is that a target of ours? It's a target of ours because that's typically an area where the market could end up holding. So I don't want to be short here, holding on to my position and not taking profit right here, right in front of here, in case the market comes in and rotates, right? So we got a nice 9-10 point sell-off right into our next roadmap level, an expected support area, and then that was basically the low of the day. So we got the best trade of the day right out of the open, right off our scaffolding level. Nearly no ticks of risk. And then all day, the bears tried to push things below 50% of the previous day and just couldn't do it. We basically held it here to the tick on some of these little pullbacks right to it. And then a little shy push through of about 2 points. And then we tried to recover and push higher, but then just petered out again and traded right around all of the chop from the previous days. Okay, so we basically nailed the high out of the open to the tick, the low of the day nearly to the tick, and then again, even with all the chop, basically nailed the 2 major rotational areas of the day. And then you can see at the end of the day, they tried to pop out and break out through VWAP, but then we got this double top, pulled back, and then bounced essentially off VWAP again. So again, a very choppy day, but again, on Friday, if you would have shorted with me off the scaffolding right out of the open, you would have captured probably not the biggest move of the day, because the biggest move was the bounce here, but the second biggest move and right out of the open was to get short from the scaffolding, take profit at the 50%. Okay, so pretty nice stuff there. And then if you did end up becoming a bull at the end of the day there, you did get this opportunity once the market broke out back through VWAP here. If you were seeing this happen in real time and you noticed, hey, we held 50%, held 50%, held 50%. In fact, this is a reverse or an inverse head and shoulders technically, if you were to look. And the reason I keep bringing up head and shoulders is because somebody asked about this a couple of weeks ago. We did a webinar on it. And then it seems like every day, ever since we did that webinar, we keep seeing these patterns that I talk about. It's almost like I honestly do feel like some of the levels we use, some of the bias we have, it's almost like the market makers are listening to us and then they go ahead and follow our plan. I really don't understand how that works, but basically what happened is shoulder, right off of our scaffolding. Head, we peak a little bit through it by 2 points there, maybe 3 points. Come back, get the shoulder again right around the same area here off the 50%, and then we got the breakout higher. Okay, now that's just an aside, just kind of an interesting observation there. But once you started to see the market get back up through the 200, you had your crossover, you had the market get back through VWAP, and basically start to peak up through our scaffolding, the major resistance out of the open, you could have tried a pullback to the 200, and if you did, you would have captured the second largest push of the day, right? So you could have bought the 200, took on maybe a point of risk, and you could have got basically a 10-point pop at the end of the day there. But outside of that, again, pretty sideways, pretty choppy. Still nailed the low of the day. Still got our trade right off our scaffolding out of the open. So that brings us into the overnight here, and as you can see, we still have not had enough strength on either side to get outside of all the chop, right? So in our overnight session, let's look at this total chop fest here and just notice some of the interesting rotations that happened last night. Okay, we held 50% of the previous day, pulled back, held 50% of the previous day, pulled back, held 50% of the previous day, and then we held VWAP to pop up, pull back and hold 50% to break out, only to come right back into all this chop again, right? So, and we keep holding that close of Friday, right? Even though there's a lot of chop here, how many times have we come right to the close and got a rotation off of it? Once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times, and even that 7th time out of the open of the Globex, we came right into it, bounced out, and then failed right off our scaffolding and the VWAP there. So even though it's been choppy, these levels are still working out really nicely. And again, it's a total chop fest for multiple days now. Look at all of this. We have not been able to get outside of a 20 to 30 point range. Okay, so that brings us here into the open here for this week.